April 4th. We got a full show here for you today. We got bet on fade teams, also some Masters betting, and a full MLB card. Excited to get into it. Packed show. We got Ian Cameron, Donnie Rightside, Jeff Nadeau. We'll get right into it. Guys, go right around the horn. Introduce yourself. Ian Cameron. Find him on Twitter at Babano. Ian, welcome in. How you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Drew. Unfortunately, college basketball, as we bemoaned on Monday's show, when I was with Donnie and Jeff talking, the national championship game is over. We're always disappointed to see that, but you got to turn the page, as Bob Seger once said. You got to look at other things. We got MLB now, NBA and NHL playoffs on the way. How about a little Masters and Donnie's best friend, Tiger Woods, looking for another green jacket?
Tiger Woods is back in it. You're right. Is that Donnie's guy? I mean, Donnie, find him on Twitter at Donnie Rightside VP. Donnie, is that your boy?
Absolutely. Steal of the Masters. Put all your money 12-1 on Tiger Woods. A lock, stock, and barrel lock of the week. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna register this right now. My best bet of the week on the roundtable, Tiger Woods to win the Masters. And also, I'm going to double down, folks. Something I've never done here on the roundtable. He will win every single tournament the rest of the year. That's my best bet of the week.
Donnie, going out on a limb, man. I like it. Best bets and
Absolutely.
everything.
Yep.
No worries for you, bro. We're hitting over 62% on the year. So together, I guess we could say pump the brakes a little bit. But if you're feeling it, man, we can put it up for you for the best bet. Hey,
No. Scratch. I mean, maybe a little role reversal. If we play that back about 30 seconds there, best bet of the week would be to fade Tiger Woods. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
All right. We got Masters bets coming up. I think it's the second topic, so in about 5 minutes. Last, certainly not least, Jeff Nadeau from an undisclosed location somewhere in the United States, I'm guessing. Find him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. He is the big man on campus. Welcome in, buddy.
Drew, if I'm going to have to hear about his disdain for Tiger Woods again, maybe I'll just get off the air and go back to sleep. I'm so sick of hearing Donnie Rightside bemoan and whine about he doesn't like Tiger Woods. When will this end?
Donnie, when will this end?
Maybe I guess it will end what? I mean, Tiger's probably going to hang around 5-6 years. So every week we're going to have to hear about how he's winning and how he's doing well, but never wins anything. So when Tiger Woods retires, me and the big man on campus will do a special show looking back on Tiger's career.
Guys, it was going to be the second topic up, but let's just make it the first. Masters betting, talking Tiger Woods. Also a shout out to the guys in the live chat. We got Loose Skunt, Kyle, what's up, boys? Adam, G-Man, feel free to chime in what you guys want to hear about. Let's hear your thoughts on today's card. Any good bets out there? Any Masters bets? We'll get right into that. Also, if you're liking the content on this show, please give us a thumbs up. And if you could share on Facebook or retweet on Twitter, get the word out about the SBR Betting Roundtable every week, same time on Wednesdays. We'd appreciate that as well. But guys, let's get right into the Masters betting. Ian, I know that you kind of follow golf somewhat. I don't want to say a sharp bettor, but you know what you're talking about as far as golf betting goes. What's tickling your fancy as far as Masters betting goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's always I actually get into the Masters, to be honest. It's not BSing or anything like that. I'm the golf fan that will not be flocking to the television set to watch the Barbasol Championship in the middle of August or something like that. But when it comes time to the majors, the four majors, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to watch it and I'm going to enjoy it. And that's usually the case with the Masters, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship over in England, and then the PGA Championship. I will watch those. I'll make a point of it, get into them, get excited for them. And follow them and even bet them. And the Masters is no different here. Should be interesting. There's a lot of golfers that have a shot. What's the big theme in this Masters is the resurgence of the old boys club, I guess you could say, the old men in the group. Tiger Woods obviously has played pretty well leading up to this tournament, had some top 5, T5, T10 finishes. You got Phil Mickelson, who's had a good start to the golf season as well. The old group against the younger group, your Jordan Spieths, your Justin Thomases, your Rory McIlroys, your young group that is expected to carry this sport forward, for the next decade and beyond. Then you got your guys that are still looking for your first major, that are veterans, have been doing it for a while, but haven't been able to really get that job done in the big major championship, like your Matt Kuchar and your Henrik Stenson. guys that you're talking about that could be in contention. Ricky Fowler's another one. He's been very close in the past to winning a major. Maybe this is his chance to win. Sergio Garcia, defending champ. For me, a couple ones that stood out to me. I keep hearing about how Bubba Watson, who's won this Masters before multiple times, is a guy that has a little bit of a puncher's chance here at 18-1, even though he hasn't exactly golfed consistently the last couple of years. There's a couple people I've spoken to that like him just a little bit. He might be a bet you might be looking to make there. The Tiger Woods thing is interesting. I mean, there's people that say he's going to be awful in this tournament, that it's fool's gold, everything he's done to this point. Then there's some people that say he's driven. He's in the best shape he's ever been. His back is fine for the first time in forever. They've gotten out all the kinks. They've wrenched it, whatever you want to call it. They've gotten him to the point now where health-wise he's as good as he's ever been. And you're going to have people saying that he's in contention. So there's like a split opinion, really, when it comes to Tiger and how he's going to do in this. I think Justin Rose is a guy that's actually got a legitimate chance here in this tournament. He's another guy I would probably look at. I think Rose last year, runner-up to Sergio in the Masters. He's a guy that's going to have that drive, and he's really done very well in the majors, has done well here as well at Augusta. So Justin Rose is a guy that I think is worth looking at. Maybe the Aussie Mark Leishman as well. Good odds there with him. And if you want to go for a deep sleeper, and because this guy it's an Asian golfer, he's golfed well this year. They say this is a course that could fit him well. Way down, he's about 300-1. How about a little Hao Tong Lee? How about that as a long shot dark horse? Hao Tong Lee at 300-1. One of my golf guys says he's worth it as a long shot, swing for the fences kind of bet. So that's one I've made. I guarantee you this, though. When the day comes, Tiger Woods announces his retirement, there is damn sure a cigar being lit in the backyard of one Donnie Rightside. You can book it. You can absolutely book it.
All right, Ian Cameron, nice rundown there on the Masters. 300-1 Hao Tong Lee is something I took away from that. We also got in the live chat Armin in the house. What's up, man? Kyle Hamburg, as a former Georgia resident, I agree with you, buddy. Kyle's one of our boys. We've all met him. Georgia may not ever win, but damn, we got some beautiful parks, stadiums, golf courses. We look good when we lose, at least. So that's a good one there, Kyle, from a Georgia Bulldog. G-Man Tiger was 5 under 9 holes. David saying he likes Rose. So some different opinions out there. Donnie, as far as Masters betting, what are you looking at going for?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about what value you're going to get, because the interesting thing, I mean, they're all futures. I mean, you can get the lowest guy, on Bet Online would be Rory McIlroy, 11-1 at this point. The good thing about these futures are we don't have to wait, 6-7 months to cash these in. They're going to cash right away over the next 4 days. It's just about value to yourself. And I like Las Vegas, the odds makers. I always say they are the smartest person in the room. Why not just keep throwing Tiger Woods in there in the top 5 or top 10? You're going to get them. Look, it's a business out there. When you want to hit your bottom line, throw a ridiculous number at Tiger Woods. I sit here, look at Tiger Woods at 12-1 right now. He should be 25 or 30-1. He hasn't won a major since 2008, hasn't won a tournament in 5 years, but yet he's top 5. And for a while, folks, he was the leading guy to enter into the Masters as the favorite and taking the most money. Vegas isn't stupid. They're going to throw him up there, put him in your face. ESPN is going to start, like you're going to see Friday. Let's just say if Tiger technically is in contention. Let's say Bubba Watson is 7 under late on Friday. You know damn well if Tiger is +1, they will have that lead story, Tiger in contention, heading into moving day at +1. He's only 8 shots off the leaderboard. When Tiger wins, that's going to be one you're going to celebrate him. I'm going to put a poster up in my background if Tiger Woods wins. I don't even care if he wins the, let's just say the Wawa Challenge in South Philadelphia, where it's only him playing. If he wins a tournament, I'll give him respect. He should be nowhere near 12-1. He should be 25 to 30-1. The odds are criminal. I joked about it with Jeff yesterday. Go to Las Vegas for the FBI right now. Put the marker around the chalk box around the actual cage itself with the yellow paper around that says crime scene and investigate Las Vegas while the odds are at least 25 short on Tiger Woods in this one. It's unfair. Donald Trump, instead of banging on the NAFTA trades, instead of putting up the wall, go to Las Vegas and investigate those people who are making the odds. Tiger Woods is shorted. If you watch Billions, put this guy in jail, put him up. See you later. Tiger Woods should be 30-1. Having said that, I'm going to take a long shot. Ricky Fowler, 22-1 in this one. I like to pick guys who haven't won there yet and are playing decent golf. 22-1 is my pick for the Masters tournament this week.
Nice one, Donnie. Ricky Fowler, 22-1. Nice little synopsis there on Tiger as well. For me, I'm going to take Bubba Watson in matchup play against Paul Casey at plus 130. Bubba Watson won it in 2012 and in 2014. University of Georgia Bulldog, former Bulldog there, grew up around the area, big time drive distance, and has obviously his play works well in the Masters, winning in 2012, 2014. So getting him in matchup play, plus 130 from a lot of people that bet golf. They say that's kind of the smartest bet rather than futures. Donnie kind of led into that. So that's what I'm going with, Bubba Watson, plus 130. Guys, we also got bet on fade teams in any sport of the topic. Big man, you've been quiet a little bit too long. I know you're not too much into golf, but you got any bet on or fade teams in any sport playing right now?
Yeah, I definitely will look towards baseball. Look, I'm looking at the Detroit Tigers. I mean, this team. I mean, I know in personal plays. I mean, this team has beaten me a couple times in the last year. I mean, they're just not any good. They're brutal, really. They have no pitching staff. Even Michael Fulmer struggled a bit over the last week. They're just not very good lineup wise, and I think long term we all know they're a bad baseball team. I don't know how bad we think they are, but I think they're really bad. I mean, Jordan Zimmerman quite possibly could be the worst signing in the history of baseball. I mean, you signed this guy for $100 million. Jordan Zimmerman has been a complete joke in Detroit. You look at the rest of that pitcher rotation. There's absolutely nothing there. You're basically working with Miguel Cabrera, who's old at this point. Victor Martinez, who's had histories of long time injuries. The lineup's just brutal. I mean, they're really bad. I'd like to look at the runners in scoring position numbers. I'm sure they'd have to be towards the top. Detroit, just a team that's going to lose a lot of baseball games this year. They'd be a team that I'd be fading all year, particularly in the AL.
And Jeff, just to give a little pushback, I mean, sitting there in the AL Central, every team is 500 or less. Do you think maybe there might not be as much profit making just fading Detroit because the competition may be not as good this year?
Well, and again, I mean, we're very early in the season. Obviously, it's hard to come up with teams after 5, 6 games. But yeah, look, I mean, obviously, I think the Indians are way better than they are. I think the
Mhm.
White Sox are on a trajectory where you have to be kind of interested in them at points to be a bit of a thorn in people's sides. The Twins are obviously good as well. Um, the Royals, okay, I guess, but against everyone else, I'm looking to bet against the Tigers. I mean, we're talking about Tigers, so I'll just throw in the Tigers.
Yeah, no. That works. And nice little ending to that one. But Ian, anything for you as far as bet on or fade teams in any sport?
Yeah, I mean, bet on to me. I mean, obviously they're playing good, they're priced good, but I certainly personally will not be stepping in front of the Houston Astros anytime soon. They've been fantastic. No World Series hangover so far. They've beaten teams that they should beat. I mean, they've clubbed Texas over the head over the weekend in that opening series, carried it over here against Baltimore, which, speaking of a bet against team, that would be one of them. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles, the one thing the Baltimore Orioles could rely on in past seasons is they could hit the baseball. That hasn't really happened for them this season. Their offense has been asleep, but their lineup's been awful. They've been striking out a ton. They finally came to life a little bit last night, actually. Still ended up losing the game against the Astros. They're starting pitching outside of Dylan Bundy, who's really the only guy that gave them a good start first time through that Orioles starting rotation. That's a concern for them. Their bullpen's been in shambles without Zach Britton to start the season. We already saw Brad Brock, who's been taken over the closing role to start the season, blow one. So it's one of those situations where Baltimore's got a lot of problems right now. 1-4 on the season. They're not hitting, which is the one thing you thought you could get from this baseball team. Starting pitching outside of Bundy has been awful, and the bullpen has really, really struggled. So yeah, Astros for me, a team that looks like they're coming on. How about Arizona too? And I'll throw one out there as a bet on team. That Arizona team's been hitting very, very well so far this season. They've gotten really good starts for the most part. Patrick Corbin's first start was promising. He was very good in that first start. If they can get him to pitch at a good level for this Arizona team, it's going to add more depth, more quality depth to that rotation. Bullpen still has some, leaky parts to it, some concerns that I got. I don't know if Boxberger long term is a guy I'd want to go with a closer, but right now, Arizona's winning games and they're pounding out runs. So Arizona bet on, Houston bet on, Baltimore bet against for me.
All right, good stuff, Ian. We also got Kyle killing it in the live chat today, saying it's windy, cold today in Atlanta. If anyone looking at the total, an early noon game, Nats, Braves, Scherzer on the hill. So thanks for that, Kyle, trying to all work together to find winners. Donnie, anything bet on or fade for you across any sport?
Yeah, some interesting ones with the East Coast, as that's a good point that they bring up down there in Atlanta. But all through the East Coast, you're looking at some real windy conditions. Most of the games blowing stadiums out, to right field, left field, center field, whatever you have. But keep an eye on that today. But there are some bet on fade teams. I'll keep it in the National League right now. And Kyle would be pretty happy down in Cobb County. It's not so much that I think the Atlanta Braves will finish great, but if we're looking for a bet on fade team to start the season and maybe carry you through April, the Atlanta Braves pretty good right now, hitting, doing it well. Now they have been at home, obviously playing over the first 4 to 5 games of the season, but it's all about the pricing you're going to get. For the most part, if you're going to be playing the Nationals, Atlanta's going to be getting a plus price similar to what they were getting last night. I didn't like them last night, but boy, you want to talk about a hitting display. The Nationals jump out, I believe, right away 3-0. Didn't even worry, over the past next 1, 2, 3 innings. Atlanta Braves took complete control of that game. But a buy on team right now for me would be the Atlanta Braves, just because they can hit and they're at home, and also getting some plus prices. If we want to look at a fade on team, which I did lose some money on over the last week, the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, you don't even get starting pitching. You don't get middle relief, and you're not seeming to get that great a closing. I know they won 1-0 as their only win of the season, but you want to talk about a team that's trying to climb up, trying to get back in there, and trying to play in the race during the game itself. Forget about the season. The Cincinnati Reds right now, my goodness, you have to hold your nose when you take this baseball team. I'll fade the Cincinnati Reds right now.
Yeah, fading the Reds. I mean, still bullpen issues to say the least. But Jeff, you gave us a fade team. Do you have a bet on team?
Yeah, I'm going to go NBA for this. The Philadelphia 76ers bet on. They've won 11 in a row. They've covered 7 of 9. This team, they've covered 9 of 11 and 7 in a row. This team is on fire right now. They're doing it without Joel Embiid, Dario Saric. They're just getting a ton of contributions from everywhere, and I think they really want to win and get to that 50-win plateau. They need 3 more wins. What a turnaround for them. I mean, obviously, getting Simmons healthy and Joel Embiid healthy is obviously key, and keeping them healthy. But, Markelle Fultz just came in and produced. I know he ended up knocking out Embiid, but overall, this team's playing at a very high level. It seems like they never lose. I was just saying that last night to someone, that you look at the way they're playing, and defense has really been the key. I mean, during, let's say, even the last 5 games, they're holding teams, about 98 points a game, really just playing at a high level. The rebounding's been fantastic all year. They're one of the top rebounding teams in the country, and you got to be impressed with what they're doing. And you look long term, I mean, they're going to be very relevant. They have a big game this week against the Cleveland Cavaliers that could go a long way. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to bet on the Sixers. Ben Simmons is a complete superstar in the making. I mean, you just look at the way he is. I mean, it's not going to be far down the road. We're talking about him with top 5 in the league, in my opinion. The kid's just unbelievable. Sixers for me.
Okay, Sixers bet on team. We got MLB coming up, full MLB card for today. A lot of bets, talking New York Yankees, Colorado Rockies, San Diego Padres, also best bets coming up. But first, let's go 60 seconds. Ian Cameron with Canadian sports. I think a little NHL. Hopefully we get a little CFL information coming up, Ian Cameron, in the next couple weeks. But what you got for Canadian sports, man?
Yeah, before I get to the 60 seconds of NHL talk, I want to mention that Sixers point. I'm mystified Detroit opened a favorite tonight, Pistons against the 76ers. I really am. I know Detroit's got the rest edge in that game. 2 days rest. They haven't played since Sunday. I understand that. But Philly on a back-to-back. They were in action last night against Brooklyn, but still, they paced the minutes. They blew out Brooklyn. I don't think the starters are going to be in any duress in terms of the minutes they logged last night. And I think the betting markets kind of agree with me that it's kind of surprising Detroit opened a favorite, because Detroit was a favorite, and now Philly's laying a 1.5 on the road in that game. And I agree with that move. I mean, Philly's just a team. You don't want to be betting against them right now. I think the biggest thing with the Sixers is they've ironed out their second half issues. They've been a much better second half team in this great run that they've put together the last month. Remember early in the season, Brett Brown's team had issues blowing leads, letting big early starts get away from them. down the stretch, not play their best late in the game. They were not a good fourth quarter team either. They've changed that, the Sixers, during this run. They've gotten a lot better in the crunch time execution part of the basketball game. It's made all the difference in the world. When it comes to hockey now, switching to that, we're down to the last few days of the regular season. I mean, we've got 5 days left in the season, Wednesday right through Sunday. Playoffs will begin a week from today, Wednesday, April 11th. Still some things to figure out. In terms of playoff positioning in the West, it's still very convoluted. You've got St. Louis, Colorado, LA, and Anaheim battling it out for those last couple of spots. Still could go in a lot of different directions there. Still a first place battle between Boston and Tampa Bay on the line for first in the Atlantic. And then you've got Florida still trying to track down. Well, now they were trying to track down New Jersey. Now they're trying to track down Big Man and Donnie's Philadelphia Flyers, because Philly slipped down into the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. So Philly, after a bad loss for them against the Islanders last night, they got to take care of business, win that next game, clinch that playoff spot. Florida's still alive, so a lot of things still to be determined here in the NHL these last few days.
All right, good stuff, Ian Cameron. Guys, we got MLB talking a couple games, also get to best bets. We got Tampa Bay, New York Yankees, early start here. Blake Snell versus Severino. Looks like 8.5 the total now. Got bought up about a half a point. Minus 250 for the home Yankees. I mean, it's a hell of a lineup, but Blake Snell kind of gets up there in velocity. It is a situation that I guess you could say is high volatility, but it is also a situation where he could go a little bit deeper in the game and have some success against this Yankees lineup. Donnie, anything on, I guess, the Rays and Yankees today?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at two pitchers that opened the season and had some very good starts. But then keep in mind, look where we're going to be playing today, the Yankees. You had some snow a couple days ago. Thank goodness this is an afternoon game. You're not going to get the best weather, folks, but you're going to get high 50s for the majority of the game. Wind blowing out to start the game. First pitch, about 13, 14 miles an hour. That's going to creep up all the way up to about 17 miles an hour, probably by about the 5th or 6th inning. To end the game, the winds completely shift and start blowing in a little bit, around 19 miles an hour, but all through the afternoon. There will be some rain. Typically, when you look at some rain and some messy conditions, I actually would lean towards the hitters at this point, because if you're a pitcher, if anybody's ever pitched out there, if that ball is a little bit slick on there, you can't get the best grip. You might not be able to have pinpoint accuracy. And we all know if the Yankees throw out an A lineup, they can score 8 runs themselves in this one. It was 8 a little bit earlier on, but you're right, it has jumped to 8.5 on the outsets. It's hard to bet against the Yankees when they're throwing, probably their best pitcher to me overall, and then you're going to have a really good bullpen. But it's the Yankees offense you have to worry about. They're going to get at least 8 at bats with the wind blowing out at 15 miles an hour. I'll take the over in this game. Even though it is at 8.5 in some messy conditions, it's hard to bet unders in the Bronx these days.
Okay, Jeff, anything on this AL East matchup?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a dangerous one just because of the wind and all that kind of thing. It's going to be real windy. I don't think there's any way I'm going to get home in time, but I guess we'll have to worry about that when we have to worry about it. As far as Severino, yeah, I mean, look, he was absolutely marvelous in his first start against Toronto. Didn't give up a run. He set good numbers in his career against the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, you look at Snell though. Last 3 starts against the Yankees, he's given up 12 earned runs. And the Yankees they own Tampa Bay. I think they've won like 16 of 21 against them or something. So they've obviously had a lot of success there. But Donnie's right. I mean, the conditions, you never know. They're not exactly favorable. I mean, yeah, on paper, the Yankees should win comfortably. But, you got to wonder where Giancarlo Stanton's heads at after yesterday. Gets booed and has 5 strikeouts and 5 appearances. So hopefully they can produce a little bit of offense. I think they will. At home this year, that one game, 11 runs. So yeah, we'll hope. I mean, the wind blowing out, that should be a good omen for Yankee hitters. I'll lean run line with the Yanks. They should be able to win comfortably.
Okay, so Jeff leaning run line with the Yanks. You both bring up good points with the weather, because before you brought up the weather, I was actually looking towards the under with both kind of hard throwers with the cold temperatures. But yeah, the wind blowing out in Yankee Stadium is definitely dangerous to bet unders. Ian, anything in conclusion on the Rays Yanks?
Yeah, I mean that's probably. I don't want Tampa Bay in this game. I don't trust Snell here in this spot. He's been very erratic and consistent for this Tampa Bay team. Yankees obviously got the bats going impressively yesterday, considering that was some of the worst and most miserable conditions for baseball that I've ever seen in that Yankee game yesterday, and the Detroit game for that matter. If you saw any of the scenes in those ballparks, Detroit and New York, from those two games, you see people bundled up so tightly you can't even see their damn face. I mean, how can you enjoy yourself in a baseball game in those kind of conditions? It's amazing they even played in those kind of crap conditions. But hey, the MLB has said it before. We want to avoid postponements at any and all costs. We got to play in frigid weather, rain and wind. We're going to do it, and they certainly did that in the Detroit and the New York games yesterday. Severino was very, very good in his first start against Toronto last Thursday. He was very impressive. Missed a lot of bats. I'm impressed with him. He's got the mantle of the ace this year for the Yankees, and it looks like he's starting to maybe show signs to live up to it. We know the Yankees certainly the better of these teams offensively. So yeah, I didn't bet this game at all either way, but yeah, I'm not looking to stand in front of New York. Tampa Bay 1-4, and I think there's gonna be a long, long season for both those Florida teams. Tampa Bay and Miami. There's not a whole lot to like.
All right, we hit on an early game. Let's hit on a late game. It's not really a degenerate special. We'll call it the late nighter. We got Colorado, San Diego, John Gray versus Clayton Richard. Looks like it's a pretty more evenly priced game. We got Colorado minus 123, minus 122 on the road. 7.5 out there at Chris as far as the total. Donnie, let's start off with you. Anything as far as Rock's pods go?
Yeah, I mean, early season action, you didn't like maybe the start that Gray had to start off, but Clayton Richard pitching for San Diego tonight did start off pretty well. I always like to lean towards the home teams early. They're going to be catching a decent number. Do I love the game? No, but in these certain instances, Colorado at home, again, not really on my radar. On the road, like to fade them a little bit, obviously, because the numbers aren't going to stack up from what they do at home. In that obviously high altitude atmosphere up there. The humidor doesn't seem to matter. Humidor doesn't seem to be mattering across baseball right now, depending on which ballpark you're looking at. I'm going to lean on San Diego tonight. I'll take the plus money. Maybe Richard gets through, can avoid some of those big bats in the lineup. But hey, plus money early in April. It's me. I'll take the San Diego Padres tonight.
All right, liking the pods. Ian, anything on this NL West matchup?
Yeah, I want to like John Gray as a bet on pitcher, but quite frankly, there's some warning signs. He didn't have the greatest spring training. It was very uneven his results in the spring. Obviously struggled at Arizona on Thursday. 3 runs on 6 hits, 3 walks allowed, just 4+ innings. Got knocked out of that game pretty early. His road numbers aren't great. Now his numbers against San Diego in his career are good. 2.4 ERA for him against the Padres in 10 starts. That's very good. This should be a bounce back start for John Gray after that rough outing against Arizona, but I think I personally want to see it before I bet it, because that was a rough outing. That was not a great spring from him either. I think when he's on and he's locked in, he's not walking guys. He's got swing and miss ability. He throws hard. He can certainly miss bats, but he just hasn't been able to put it all together at any point yet since spring training started for the Rockies. I want to see that first. I don't trust Clayton Richard a whole lot, the lefty here against this Rockies lineup, so I'd lean Colorado if I had to bet it, but John Gray, I want to see a good start before I bet him moving forward.
And Jeff, last certainly not least, any opinion on this NL West matchup?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly the spot where you think John Gray will get it turned around. I mean, he's been fantastic in his career against the Padres. 10 starts, an ERA of 2.4, very good numbers. It's a good lineup to face when you're kind of struggling a bit. We know the Padres at times can have those issues. We know they're a bit of a newer team, so those skewed stats might not matter to anything. If they have a Hosmer there now, so he can maybe screw it up a little bit for John Gray. But yeah, you're right. John Gray has had a poor spring, and he didn't have a good first start. And Ian is right. Before you bet on him, it's hard to bet on him just because we don't know what we're going to get. And generally, we haven't gotten anything good from John Gray. I'm not in love with the Colorado Rockies as well on the road. That's kind of always something that I've always not really been into. It's a tough game. I kind of agree with Donnie, though. I think there's a bit more upside to me at home on the Padres, just because I'm getting plus money against a pitcher that's not particularly very good.
And big man, you bring up, his past success against the Padres lineup. How much do you bring that into your MLB handicapping from years past, pitcher versus that lineup matchup?
Well, I particularly use it pretty much a lot, all the time, except with a team like with Padres that made some moves. I mean, teams always make moves, but for the large contingent, I mean, most of the same Padres have been there for a series of years. But they have brought in Headley and Hosmer. You really have to look at how the lineups have been fixed and moved on from. So yeah, I guess somewhat. I mean, but with all the moves that are made, you got to remember maybe John Gray's been seen by Hosmer 6 times and he has 4 hits. I mean that can kind of skew it. So I like to make sure the lineups are similar to what they were in the years before, but somewhat.
And Donnie, for you, I mean, starting pitcher versus the opposing lineup in past years, is that something you use as like one of the stronger things in your handicapping arsenal?
Yeah, no, it's actually a little bit different there. I like to look at opposing pitchers, how they did in that environment, meaning how they pitched in San Diego over their careers, because they will be used to the mound, used to the sight lines, as opposed to, home. Not so much the lineup itself and not so much early in the season. Now, if you're looking at a pitcher that's going to be in top form, let's just say, mid-June pitching well, I would like to lean on those statistics a little bit more. Say, boy, he pitches really well against the Padres, especially in San Diego. But early in the season, I think it's sort of a mixed bag there. But I more like to see how well they pitch, because we all see the numbers. Like when a pitcher is dominant at home, then goes to Coors Field and he's off the charts, you don't want to buy him. But also, there's some things that just time to time, whether how well he pitches in Yankee Stadium, Citizens Bank Ballpark. I look more of that as opposed to the lineups itself.
And Ian, anything real quick as far as pitcher versus lineup matchup?
Yeah, the pitcher versus the lineup of the opposing lineup and how the pitchers fared in the ballpark, I definitely want to know about it. And I'm definitely going to consider it and take it into account with looking at every single game. But the one thing I'll throw out this situation. A pitcher could be rolling in here against San Diego. You've got a 2.04 ERA. You've dominated this team. But if you're going into this start, and I've seen you have problems with your command, your control, you're walking 8 guys in your last couple of starts per start, your velocity maybe's gone down a little bit. You've got these red flags popping up left and right that indicate that your current form is just downright a concern and lousy going into that start. I don't give a damn how you've done in the past against San Diego in that 2.04 ERA, because I think that becomes skewed if I see its effect with a starting pitcher involved that's got legitimate issues in terms of his command, his control, his miles per hour on his fastballs dropped and gone down. Those are all things that would override a particular pitcher's track record against a team or a lineup. So those are the things where I got to make a little adjustment and say, hey, I want to know how they did in the past against this team, but if their current form is showing me something that I don't like, I won't hesitate to bet against them.
All right, good MLB handicapping stuff there, guys. Gave a day game out, a night game out as far as opinion. We got best bets coming up. Also want to give it a chance for all of you guys, including myself, to give any shout outs towards shows coming up on SBR. We got one on Friday, a new UFC show where it's going to be featuring Matt Holt, who actually killed it as far as UFC betting, jumped on him to do a show here on SBR. So that's going to premiere Fridays before UFC cards. So this Friday will be the first show on that to get his bets. So stay tuned for that. Jeff, find him on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. Anything you want to throw out there show-wise on SBR?
You can find Donnie and I every day other than Wednesday at 10 a.m., the right side of campus. I'll be getting back to normal tomorrow. I'll be back home. I'm hoping I'm home. Again, the wind is very poor on the East Coast. So pray for me, all of you, that I get home. But, yes, that's really all I have. I continue to do soccer with Natalie and the boys over there as well. But I am whimpered that college basketball's ended. But, hey, don't cry because it's over. Laugh because it happened, or smile because it happened. That's what I'll say today.
Something like that.
The only, also, guys, I do quickly want to make a point on the Dante DiVincenzo tweets. Give the kid a break, for God's sakes. I mean, he was 14 years old. I mean, we all said things. Look, I've said a lot of things on the internet that I'm not particularly proud of, probably, but the kid had just won the MVP. And he got some shithead. But again, why am I surprised by these people? They have no lives. They sit at home just looking for ways to bring other people down. So it's not surprising that not only is the lead story nothing to do with basketball, but we're trying to bring a young man down who just had an unbelievable performance in a huge game in a random stadium in America. He just killed it. But hey, let's bring him down because that's what we do. He was 14 years old. Give him a break, for God's sakes.
All right, thanks.
He didn't say anything all that outlandish either. I mean, you're talking about a 13-year-old on Twitter that's going to be quoting Meek Mill, and you're going to say you bring that up now, make that sort of some right. It's almost like Jeff, somebody was just had that in their back pocket for like, ooh, I can't wait for this guy to actually go to Villanova, make a big stage in a big moment, and then put that out there. It's outlandish. Look, it's ridiculous. How stupid are you when you're 13? And it wasn't even that stupid.
Let me make it clear. I did think it was kind of weak of Villanova to put out, oh, it wasn't him. And I do think it was weak of him to not admit that it was him. He made it up, said it was someone else. And look, I think he just kind of, in passing, it was brought up, and he was kind of worried and didn't know what to say. But Villanova, you got to just let it play out. Don't say that he didn't do it and it's a hacked profile. But give the kid a break. Come on.
Jeff, we got best bets coming up, but we got a little bit of time. Can you tell us a little bit about where you are now and how the whole like national championship Final Four was for you?
Yeah. I'm in San Antonio. It was fun. It was a good. The games weren't great. I mean, obviously, if you watched them, two of them obviously were Villanova just crushing their opponent. The Loyola Michigan game was great in the first half. Loyola played well, but kind of just whimpered and went away. It's been fun though. Met a lot of good people. Saw the Riverwalk. I had an interesting day yesterday. We stayed an extra day just to kind of see Texas. I made a mistake of not really a mistake. It was just kind of a random thing. But I went out to some, I don't know, barren wasteland of Texas and some old town, and we had some great barbecue there. It was great food, good, good sirloin, all sorts of good stuff. But it's been a good time. Met some good people. I've been hosted down here by a nice bar restaurant, nice place to go. I only wish Donnie Rightside was along, and all you guys. It's been a fun time down here. We've hung out with some good basketball fans, had some good food, and it's been a fun time. But I am ready to get home. Yes.
All right, thanks for sharing, man. Donnie, anything you want to throw out there as far as content-wise on SBR?
No, big man said it all. We'll be here all throughout the summer. It's sort of that lazy decompressment. There's still a lot of money to be made in the summer, and I love betting baseball, but it's nice to get that little decompress in the month of April before it really ramps up again. I mean, the NBA Finals, NBA playoffs, they're a lot of fun to watch, even if you're not a big NBA fan like myself. I love the NHL playoffs. And again, in Philadelphia, Jeff and I talked about it yesterday, we're going to have the Flyers and the Sixers in the playoffs. Something is really moving forward here. Villanova wins the national title. The Eagles win the Super Bowl. We actually have some things to look forward to, and it's coming at a good time now. Thank goodness people still talk about the Eagles. Thank goodness they're talking about Villanova, because nobody right now is going to talk about Gabe Kapler and the Phillies, but I will in just a few moments. And shout out the Philadelphia Phillies last night. The Sixers were on TV. The Flyers were on TV, but the Phillies made the savvy move here in the Northeast to put that game on Facebook so nobody could watch it. The Phillies got shut out and lost, and nobody's upset. Why? Because nobody cares. Nobody saw it.
Good point, man. Ian, last for you as far as content on SBR?
Yeah, I mean, NHL Ice Guys is 3 days a week. We do the roundtable with you great folks every Wednesday, as everybody knows there. We've got daily MLB play videos for SBR. So looking to hit some winners with that. You can check those out every day as well. So that's pretty much it for the next little bit. We're going to have the roundtable every week. Ice Guys will continue through the playoffs. We should have a playoff schedule announced later this week for what we're going to do during the Stanley Cup playoffs with that show. So lots of excitement on the way. Even the NBA playoffs, I'm into it. And, it's wide open in the East. Anybody can get in there. There's flaws in every East team. There's no perfect team in the Eastern Conference in the NBA. It's going to make for an interesting playoff there. You got to worry right now about the Raptors. They're limping into the playoffs. Boston, they've had injuries. Are they going to be able to overcome that? Philadelphia is the hottest team right now, but they're still young. Are they going to be able to rise up to the playoff pressure? Cleveland, can they figure out some defense? There's a lot of stories in the NBA in the East, the West. Can Golden State get healthy, start peaking again, and challenge Houston? Oklahoma City, are they a potential dark horse? I think San Antonio looks vulnerable. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Spurs. Terrible, terrible loss for them last night against the Clippers. So lots of good things in the NBA coming up as well. So it's an exciting time of year.
All right, good stuff, guys. Again, if you're liking the content, please give us a thumbs up. Let's get into best bets. I'll lead it off. I'm going with the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 122 at BetOnline over the LA Dodgers in a day game. So got Arizona plus money at home against the Dodgers is my best bet today. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, best bets for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Listen, I've had my eye on this since the matchups were announced. I'm laying a little juice here, but I'm gonna do what I gotta do here. I'm gonna go Champions League, Liverpool, Man City over 2.5. I gotta lay 154. It's not great, but I just don't see a feasible way this doesn't go over the number. If you know anything about these teams, maybe other than Barcelona and Real Madrid, they're the best attacking teams in the world. I mean, they just have a ton of goal scorers. Mohamed Salah is a name that won't get love with Messi and Ronaldo, but he's that good. He's been absolutely unbelievable this year. Kevin De Bruyne is right up there for City as well. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. Two English sides in the Champions League. You could feasibly see if whoever comes out of this fixture could win the whole thing. Two teams just on fire right now. I'd imagine we'll see attack. Champions League generally goes like normal. I'm gonna go back to the over 2.5 goals here. I can't see it a way it doesn't go over the number. I think at worst it's a 2-1 up tempo, attack. Over 2.5. Liverpool, Manchester City.
Okay, that's Manchester City, Liverpool over 2.5 minus 154 for Jeff. And you can find Jeff on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. He is the big man on campus. His partner in crime, Donnie Rightside. Find him on Twitter at RightsideVP. His work at DonnieRightside.com. Donnie, what do you got for best bets for us?
Yeah, not so much of a cap here, but a really good spot that I like. As you know, in April, I'm always going to stick with a lot of dog plays. Nice, Drew, that you jumped on that bandwagon there, took a nice little dog here. I'm going to do the same here. It's going to be an afternoon battle, 9:03, 9:04. We're going to go to the city, the Big Apple, playing versus my Philadelphia Phillies. Buy low here. Aaron Nola comes off an opening day start, which he was fantastic. Got pulled a little bit too early, taking the mound here with those lowly Phillies. Well, right now, Bet Online, you can get a price of plus 122 with the Philadelphia Phillies. Thor struggled a little bit in his first outing here. I'm not saying he's going to struggle again. Phillies didn't even score a run last night. It's just about situational plays right here. The Phillies are down in the dumps right now, but their ace is going to take the mound at a plus money price. It's an early afternoon game. I think the Phillies are going to get the job done here. More or less not about a cap. Do I think the Mets are better right now? Absolutely I do, but I think you're getting a nice price on Aaron Nola at plus 122. Best bet of the week for me, folks. The Philadelphia Phillies plus 122.
With the former LSU Tiger, is it in this handicap, Donnie? Is there anything to do with fading Noah Syndergaard?
Not really fading Noah Syndergaard, but if you're looking at it, has all the elements that you like. 62% of the tickets coming in on the New York Mets, 54% of the money coming in on the Mets. Line opened up at 148 at Pinnacle, 156 at Chris. That's now down to 127 and 132 respectively. I like to look at those type of movements here and still get the dog. I'm going to lean on the Phillies right here to get the job done. It's everything I like in a game here in April, so we'll go with it.
All right, and Donnie, 7-4, 6-1. Best bet streak as far as year to date, 7-4, 6-1 as far as best bets go in his last 7. So good stuff there from Donnie on Philly plus 122. Ian Cameron, last, certainly not least, from Canada. Find him on Twitter at Babano. His work at sportsmemo.com. Ian, what do you got for best bets for us, man?
Well, I remember being on the losing end of an Aaron Nola bet against Atlanta when the idiot Gabe Kapler decides, let's remove the guy 68 pitches in the 6th inning. Could you keep the guy into the 7th inning today if he's got a shutout going, Gabe Kapler? Please, can you do that for me today with him against the New York Mets? Could we not give him the hook so quickly? Can he actually go to the mound and take your pitcher out when there's actually a damn reliever warming up in the bullpen? There's nobody warming up in the bullpen when he came out there one day to take out his starter the other day. It was unbelievable. What a bad weekend for Gabe Kapler. Horrible. Yeah.
Yo, he's a stone cold idiot. I could just see he's a stone cold moron. And the Philly, Donnie, you have to agree after 5 games, you have to agree and look at yourself and say, how the hell did this guy get a manager job? I mean, I don't think he can even figure out simple baseball. He's a complete fucking idiot.
Yeah, I think he's been a manager like one time 10 years ago, like single A ball, but that's the new life. When you get these guys, the pencil pushers, the guys with the pocket protectors and the calculators out that play the game on a computer screen as opposed to the field, that's what you end up with.
Brutal.
Ridiculous. He went to the mound. Think about this, people. He went to the mound to take his starter out, make a call to the bullpen. There's nobody warming up there. There's nobody
They're sitting out there with their coats on.
Hey, in this situation, did they give him extra reps?
Here?
No,
when he came out of the bullpen, did they give him extra reps?
Yes, the umpire stepped in. The umpire actually turned Gabe Kapler in the Major League Baseball front office for them to discipline him, because that was the whole melee down there where he wasn't supposed to get extra time, but the umpire used some like code of conduct that said, I have to protect the player from injuring himself because the management is so incompetent on one side. It was a whole big to-do, and they're still talking about it on the airways up here. It's one of the more outlandish things you've probably ever seen in baseball, where it's just a common sense thing, and your manager is so far detached from common sense that he doesn't even know what he's doing.
And Drew, there's a funny thing I was telling Donnie. The day after the Nola incident, the one game after, WIP, one of the radio stations here, put a poll out: should the Phillies fire Gabe Kapler after one game? And I think 76% of the fans said yes, that they should. That he should be gone already. In this town, you cannot do stuff like that. Gabe Kapler's already hated, and it's 4 games into the season. That's why I love this town. We don't put up with mediocrity, stupidity. If you don't know what you're doing, get the fuck out of here.
No idiocy allowed.
One game and done. I love it, man. And hey, Ian, we got Bill Perry in the chat box asking, what's Ian's pick? Do you mind just confirming what your pick is?
Yeah, we're getting to it. I didn't actually. I had to bring up Kapler because that Nola game frustrated me last time. But I like Donnie's pick there. Hopefully, again, we get Nola lasting beyond the 6th inning. But yeah, for Kapler, you're taking Nola out 6th inning, 68 pitches, no runs. You're going to the bullpen when there's nobody there warming up. You're batting the pitcher in the 8th spot. I mean, what are we doing here? If you're Gabe Kapler here this first week, it's been awful. But hopefully the Phillies can overcome that starting today and moving forward. For my best bet, you know, it's funny. I'm going to go to a day game as well. I think a day game has been the popular thing. I'm going to go to the Royals and the Tigers. I am convinced that Danny Duffy of the Royals is not at all right physically. Not at all right. This is a guy that's had a really, really poor spring in terms of, shoulder soreness, shoulder tightness. He battled it throughout spring. His velocity went down last year. He was on the DL last year. He was taken out of his last spring training start early. Ned Yost tried to diffuse the situation, saying it's no big deal. He'll be ready to go for that first start. So he has that first start against the White Sox. What happens? He gets crushed. I mean, the White Sox just absolutely hammered him. He actually got off to a good start, and then the train went off the tracks, giving up multiple home runs. I think there's a real concern with Danny Duffy right now. I think he could be on the DL sooner rather than later. I bet against him with that White Sox game. They got the job done. And I bet James Shields in that game as well, which just tells you how anti-Duffy I was. And I'm anti-Duffy today, too. I don't like what I'm seeing. Now, I don't trust Daniel Norris. So I was going back and forth in this game. He's a wild card. He can pitch good, but he can also get crushed. I got to see what we get from Norris. So I was debating, do I take Detroit here as a best bet? I'm going to actually go team total instead. I'm going to go Detroit over their team total, over 4, minus 145. Got to lay a little juice. But I think they score at least 4 runs here against Danny Duffy and a horrible Royals bullpen that's dead last in MLB right now. Worst bullpen in baseball. A shell of the bullpen they were a few years ago when they were going to the World Series. So I'm going to go Detroit Tigers over 4 for their team total. That'll be my best bet.
All right, Ian. We got Brandon saying in the chat box, Detroit KC is PPD postponed, and I'm checking on the odds page right now. It looks like it is.
Are you kidding?
Well. Yeah, sorry, it just happened, man. So nothing against you. Do you have another best bet, or I guess in this scenario we can just do a push?
You know what? I got to back up because I've got my short list of MLB.
Ian, just take a game NFL Week 1. Take a game NFL Week 1.
Hey, Ian, also, I wanted to let you know, my plane does take off at 2:20, so if you could try to get done by then, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Go up to speed. You know what I'll do instead? We'll do the Milwaukee Brewers, 908. Milwaukee Brewers plus 106, bookmaker / Chris. Here's another guy that I've got concerns with, Carlos Martinez. He didn't have a very good first start for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's supposed to be their ace. There were some warning signs he had last year. Didn't like some of the things I saw in his first start against the New York Mets. Got hit around a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned his stuff has diminished a little bit. Chacin for Milwaukee, solid. You know, he's not going to wow you, but he's a decent arm. Milwaukee, a rousing comeback win. I think that's a momentum thing that can carry over to tonight. So let's take Milwaukee. A last-minute on-the-fly change. Milwaukee plus 106. Official best bet from me for the round table.
On the fly. Ian Cameron does have reserves. He's proven it right now. Milwaukee plus 106. We got Donnie on the Phillies plus 122 over New York Mets. Big man on campus. Champions League. Liverpool. Manchester minus 154 juice to the over on 2.5. That's Champions League over 2.5 Liverpool game. And I'm on Arizona plus 122 at Bet Online in a day game. Guys, anything else in conclusion before we shut this down?
That's all for me.
All right, Todo Bien. Great stuff,
Great
guys.
show.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place.
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone. See ya.